Scientists land on an alien planet for research, unaware it's full of giant creatures. It was not very different from any other mission. Everything went according to plan until the researchers saw something they never expected. In this video, we will talk about the incredible journey that these scientists took, so stay with us till the end. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. The planet they were going to research was called Kepler-186f. It was located in the constellation of Cygnus and was orbited by a star similar to our Sun. This planet was special because it was potentially habitable and it was close enough for scientists to study. Scientists had been observing this planet for a long time before they finally decided to send a mission to it. They sent a spaceship equipped with all the latest technology. The goal was to collect data about the planet's atmosphere and to look for signs of life. As the spaceship approached the planet, the scientists on Earth were getting more and more excited. They had never been closer to a potentially habitable planet before. The closer they got, the more they realized that this was going to be a groundbreaking mission. When the spaceship finally landed on the surface of the planet, the scientists on Earth erupted in cheers. They had done it. Their spaceship had landed on a potentially habitable planet. But the party didn't last long. The scientists soon realized that something was wrong. The data that their spaceship was sending back to Earth was not what they had expected. The atmosphere of the planet was not like that of Earth. It was much thicker, and it was full of strange gases. The scientists tried to make sense of the data, but they couldn't. They had never seen anything like this before. As the days passed, the scientists grew more and more concerned. They started to wonder if they had made a mistake. Maybe they should have never sent their spaceship to this planet. The planet was clearly not like Earth, and there was no sign of life. The scientists started to pack up their things. They were ready to give up on this mission. But just as they were about to do so, they received a signal. It was a distress call from the spaceship. The scientists were shocked. Who was sending the distress call? Was there someone else on the planet? The scientists tried to contact the crew of the spaceship, but they didn't respond. They were too afraid. They didn't want anyone to know that they were there. The scientists on Earth were desperate. They had to do something to help the crew of the spaceship. They started to send messages back to the planet. They tried everything they could to get the crew to respond. But nothing worked. The crew of the spaceship was gone. The scientists on Earth were devastated. They had lost their friends and colleagues. They would never see them again. But they had to move on. They had to focus on the task at hand. They needed to find out what had happened to the crew of the spaceship. They started to analyze the data that the spaceship had sent back to Earth. They looked for clues, anything that could help them understand what had happened, and then they found it. In the last transmission from the spaceship, they had detected a sound. It was a low rumble, like the sound of a giant's footsteps. The scientists were stunned. Could it be possible that there was a giant creature on the planet? They had never considered this before. They had focused so much on finding signs of life that they had not thought about the possibility of giant creatures. As they continued to analyze the data, they found more and more evidence of giant creatures. They found footprints that were way too big for any human. They also found bones that were incredibly strong. The scientists were terrified, but they were also excited. They had stumbled upon something truly amazing. They decided to send another spaceship to the planet. This time, they were prepared. They brought cameras and recording equipment so that they could capture everything. As the new spaceship approached the planet, the scientists on Earth held their breath. They knew what they were about to see would be unlike anything they had ever seen before. When the spaceship landed on the planet, the scientists on Earth watched intently as the cameras started to roll. What they saw was beyond their wildest imaginations. There were giant creatures everywhere. They were huge, like dinosaurs. The creatures were all different shapes and sizes, but they were all incredibly massive. Some of the creatures were over 30 feet tall, and they were moving around freely on the planet. The scientists on Earth were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. These creatures were not from this planet. They were aliens. The scientists quickly analyzed the data, and they found out that these creatures were not native to the planet. They had come from another planet. But why? Why would they travel all that distance? The scientists were baffled. They couldn't understand the motives of these creatures. As the days passed, the scientists on Earth learned more about these creatures. They found out that they were intelligent, that they had their own language, and that they had their own society. The scientists were amazed. They had never thought that there could be such advanced aliens living on this planet. One day, the aliens spotted the spaceship. They were curious, and they wanted to investigate. The scientists on Earth panicked. What would the aliens do when they found the spaceship? Would they attack it? The scientists were worried, but they were also curious. They wanted to know what the aliens would do. To their surprise, the aliens didn't attack the spaceship. They were peaceful and they were friendly. The scientists on Earth were shocked. They'd expected the worst, but they got the best. The aliens welcomed the scientists on Earth, and they showed them around their planet. The scientists were amazed. These aliens were not like any they had ever seen before. They were kind and welcoming. The scientists learned a lot from these aliens. They shared their knowledge with the scientists, and they taught them about their planet. The scientists were grateful. They had come to this planet to learn, and that's exactly what they got. As the time came for the scientists on Earth to leave, they were sad. They had made great friends here, and they didn't want to go. The aliens were also sad, but they understood that the scientists had to go home. They said goodbye to their new friends, and they promised to visit again soon. The scientists on Earth returned home with a lot of knowledge and experience. They had discovered a new world, and they had learned about its people. They were grateful for the experience, and they knew that they would never forget it. But the most amazing part of the story is still to come. The scientists on Earth shared their story with the world. They told everyone about the amazing planet and its friendly inhabitants. People were amazed. They couldn't believe that there was such a place out there. The scientists became famous, and they were interviewed by everyone. They talked about their experiences, and they answered questions about the planet and its people. People were fascinated, and they wanted to know everything. But not everyone was happy with the story. Some people didn't believe it. They thought it was made up. They said that there was no way that such a place existed. But the scientists knew the truth. They had seen it with their own eyes. As time passed, more and more people started to believe the story. The planet became famous, and it was visited by many. People from all over the world came to see the amazing creatures and to learn about their culture. The planet's inhabitants were happy that people were coming to visit them. They welcomed everyone, and they shared their knowledge and their culture. The planet became a place of learning and discovery, and it was loved by everyone who visited. The story of the planet and its inhabitants became a legend. It was told to children and adults alike. The children were amazed, and they dreamed of visiting the planet one day. The adults were inspired, and they were amazed by the wonders of the universe. And that's all for today. Let us know in the comments, who would you like to meet, an alien or a giant? Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.